Kia ora and greetings. It's time for the Kiwi Football Fix. We shine a spotlight on everything football in New Zealand and New Zealanders abroad, of course. Today on the show, we hear from a couple of champions. A little later, we'll hear from champion of the ISPS Handa Men's Premiership, Hamish Watson with Team Wellington. We go to, I think he's working today on the job site. So we'll see what he's building, and we'll also talk to him about his form this year. But we've got another champion broadcaster, Jason Pine, and he kicks things off for us right here, right now on the Kiwi Football Fix. G'day, champion. How are you?
Yeah, good. I thought you were going to refer to the 11th grade Tawa Tigers and our famous 1981 run to the title, but I'll take a broadcaster as well.
Piney, I don't have that in my script, unfortunately, but good to know, and I'll make sure that I address you as such next time around. Listen, reason for your appearance on the show today, Wellington Phoenix. They had a win, a convincing win, 4-1 over Melbourne Victory. What were your impressions of that imposing performance last night?
Well, one of the best I've seen this season, for sure. They needed the win. Melbourne Victory are having a wretched time of things. So when you come up against a team that's down and out, the worst thing you can do is give them a leg up. It was good to see the Phoenix didn't do that last night. Got a couple of goals before half-time, came out in the second half, unlike the previous game against Brisbane, and put the foot on the throat, scored 4 really good goals, let one in at the end, which was a bit of a consolation. But, yeah, look, I wonder whether in a few weeks' time or a couple of months' time we'll look back on last night and think, you know what, that might be a bit of a turning point. Some really good performances from some key players, some confidence built in the attacking third. A lot to like about it across the board, albeit against one of the A-League strugglers. You still have to put them away. The 3 points are in the bag. And as I say, hopefully it's a bit of a springboard. Yeah,
they are the A-League strugglers, the Melbourne Victory, which seems weird to say because they've been at the top of the game for a number of years. And this is exactly what a Wellington Phoenix side should be doing to the Melbourne Victory. So, I mean, if I wanted to be nasty or mean or nitpick, this is the exact result they should have produced, isn't it?
Yep, and I think if they hadn't done that, if they'd won it, say 1-0 with a scratchy goal in the 88th minute or, God forbid, drawn the game or even lost it last night, then I think we would be in a position where we'd have to start putting the Phoenix under a pretty harsh spotlight. But you're right, if you come up against a team that other teams are going to beat and take the 3 points from, then you better be getting those 3 points yourself. So they did that last night. They'll be pleased not only with the points, but also the performance and scoring that many goals. The most, I think, under Ufuk Talay in his season and a half. And as I say, hopefully something to build on.
Well, look, we need to talk about specific players, and let's start with the returning former captain, Steven Taylor, sitting in central defence alongside Tim Payne. What did you think of his comeback to the, well, I was going to call them black and yellow, but they're playing in red and white?
Yeah, integral to this team, even after that 90 minutes. I thought, while the headlines will go to the goal scorers and the guys with the, the flashy goal-scoring ability and the twinkle toes, I think Steven Taylor coming back to the Wellington Phoenix is a masterstroke from the club. He just seems to make everybody around him better. And the Phoenix have lacked that vocal presence at the back, with all due respect to the likes of Tim Payne and Liam McGing and Josh Laws, who's played there, and even current captain Ulysses Davila, who wears the armband. None of them is the vocal type of leader that Steven Taylor is. And I watched that back four last night. There just seemed to be more of a calmness about it. Not to say that there hasn't been in recent times when they have tightened up at the back, but I think him coming back into the side could also be a bit of a turning point. We're halfway through the regular season now, Goran. 13 games gone, 13 to go. He looked every inch a player who will do exactly what he's done in his time at the Phoenix, and that is be exceptionally good at the back, a vocal presence in the side, and something that someone that will lift the ability and the spirits of those around him.
While we're talking about individuals, Reno Piscopo only played half a game last night, went off at half-time through injury, but his first 45 minutes was just majestic. And the creation of that first goal, where he brought down a defensive clearance with a wonderful first touch and then the vision to unleash David Ball. Talk us through what you saw in that fantastic Wellington Phoenix team goal.
Yeah, well, first of all, Piscopo's part in it, and this is just a continuation of the form that he's been in since he came back from injury. Remember, he missed the first 4 games of the season, has come back into the side, and has steadily just become, I think, what I'd call a proper player in the A-League. He is now, with ball at feet, as dangerous an attacking midfielder as there is going around. As you say, the 2 parts that he played in that goal were quite different. The control, as you say, from the hoofed defensive clearance that's gone up into the sky and come down, from a great height. He's just killed that dead, which buys him just that extra little bit of time that he needs to look up, see past his defender and see the run of David Ball. Having seen the run, though, you've still got to play the pass, and he did that expertly. So his close control is exemplary. His ability to pick a pass over a short distance or a long distance is really, really impressive. He's added goals as well. Look, I think there are a lot of A-League sides looking at Rena Piscopo and thinking, why didn't we pick this guy up? It took Ufuk Tale, who'd worked with him at international age group level, to bring him home from Italy. He'd been in the Olympic setup. Everyone was aware of him, but he's come into Tele's system and alongside Ulysses Davila just looks wonderful, a wonderful player in those twin number 10 positions. I think Piscopo is going to be a big part of the Phoenix's success this season.
I don't care how or why we got him. I'm just glad that he's in the Wellington Phoenix setup because, yeah, as you say, between him and Davila, you've got such attacking potency, and it was on display last night against Victory. On the end of that wonderful move was Tomer Hemed, the Israeli international, and I feel like after scoring 3 goals in 3 games, I should start taking some of those knives out of his back. Is it time to start embracing and supporting this guy up front?
I think it has to be. And look, you're not the only one who was putting him under a shadow of doubt, shall we say. He came into the side. That's maybe a nicer way of saying it. Perhaps.
It is. It's definitely a nicer way. Yeah.
Yeah, Premier League pedigree. When a Premier League striker comes into a team, you think, okay, well, we need this guy to score goals, to look like a Premier League player, to contribute, in fairly large slices from the moment he arrives. He hadn't done that. And the explanation for that can be put down somewhat to the fact he arrived late, he quarantined, he wasn't 100% fit. As he tried to get fit, he picked up a little niggle. Things didn't go well from the first, 7 or 8 games. But since he's got back in and is starting to get the minutes in the legs and crucially started to score goals, the first one was a penalty, but they all count for one, hitting the back of the net, very important for a striker. His goal the other night against Brisbane and then the finish last night against, Melbourne Victory. The guy is now starting to become, a player that we all hoped that he would be. I remember earlier in the season comparing him to Gary Hooper and thinking we always kind of thought Gary Hooper would come right. He seemed to have enough about him. I think the jury was well and truly out on Tomer Hemed, but now the more we see of him and the fact that he's scoring goals and contributing, in a really important way to this side, I like what I'm seeing from Tomer Hemed, and he must surely now have a spring in his step way more than he had a month ago.
At the other end of the pitch, Piney, is Ollie Sale. And, his performances have been absolutely exceptional since he took over from Stefan Marinovic. He spent almost 2 years on the Pine waiting for an opportunity, and boy, has he taken it. First of all, your impressions on his performances, especially last night. He pulled off a number of saves, but where does he sit in the pecking order of New Zealand goalkeepers if he's gone past Stefan?
Yeah, two. I mean, that's a great question, which I'll get to in a second. You're right. Last night, very good again. When he was called upon, a couple of really good saves at important times as well. He saved from Can Soba at 1-0 up to keep it at 1-0. And then early in the second half, in injury time, right at the end of the first half, at 2-0, he made another crucial save. If Victory had gone in at 2-1 down, they might have had a hope, a bit of a sniff. But keeping it at 2-0, it made it a heck of a lot harder for them. And you're right, he's come into the side. And look, being a backup goalkeeper has to be one of the hardest jobs in football when the number one is firmly entrenched. When actually, it's going to take an injury for me to get a game here, and those don't always come along. But he was given the opportunity, not by injury, but by the fact that Ufuk Tale decided, look, I'm going to make a change at keeper. And having waited so long, Ollie Sale has obviously decided, I ain't giving these gloves back. I'm the number one now. I'm your man in between the sticks, and I'm going to hold on to this position. Where does he sit? Well, if he's gone past Stefan Marinovic, the incumbent All Whites keeper at club level, then he has to be in the conversation at international level. He has to be. It's simply, basic maths, really. The other guy in the picture, of course, who might be ahead of both of them now is Michael Wout, who's playing in the Dutch second tier for Almere City, who are pushing for promotion to the Eredivisie. He's playing every week and looking every inch a really top-quality goalkeeper as well. But Ollie Sail, he's done everything that was asked of him. He's been patient. He's taken his opportunity with both hands, pardon the pun, and is now looking, a really big part of this side.
In the Brisbane Roar game, there was a handball that probably should have been given, and the Knicks should have had an opportunity to win the game. Last night against the Victory, you've got Alex Rufer, who's, I suppose, the midriff, cannons the ball into his arm, which is supporting his weight while he's on the ground. Play on, David Ball scores. VAR is involved, and apparently the goal stands. So, when I was a kid, if you intentionally played the ball with your hand, it was a handball. But in 2021, times have changed. Things are a little different. I need your expertise. I need your brilliant brain to tell us all what is going on with handballs in the A-League.
Look, brilliant as my brain may, purportedly be, I still can't wrap my head around the difference between the two incidents, Goran. As you say, I thought the Brisbane one was a stone-cold penalty when the ball was, even though it was cleared by a defender, up onto a teammate's hand. He's got his arms out like a scarecrow. The ball's hit his hand in the penalty area. That, for me, and for anyone with just a mild interest or knowledge of the game, instantly you think it's a penalty. It's hit him on the hand with his arm in an unnatural position, but apparently not. Then the one last night, you're right. The explanation that seemed to come was that because the handball didn't lead directly to the goal, there was another passage of play that happened in between where there actually was a decent shout for a penalty actually on Reno Piscopo. It ceased to be a part of the goal-scoring action because, as we know, a handball that leads directly to a goal, intentional or not, is handball. A handball can't lead to a goal whether it's done intentionally or not. So the fact that there was a phase of play, a very small one, in between when Rufer appeared to handle and Ball put the ball in the back of the net appears to be the reason why the goal stood. So, but what are Melbourne Victory supposed to do? Are they supposed to stop? Because you're told to play to the whistle. If they'd stopped and things had carried on, maybe they would have got the decision in their favour. So look, even the fact that we're talking about it in probably fairly complicated terms for most of our viewers gives you a demonstration of just how murky and mired in uncertainty the handball rule still is, even with the VAR.
Yeah, they need to sort it out because you're so right. The state of mind that players are in these days when there's a potential offside or a foul, it's all about playing on. Then you're asking them to stop playing when there might be a handball in the box because you don't want to, I suppose to steal a rugby terminology, you don't want the next phase to begin. It's utterly ridiculous.
Yep, I couldn't put it better myself. You did right.
We'll move on. We'll leave it to the A-League rule masters to figure out that schmozzle. In our own backyard, we'll move away from the A-League and look at the ISPS Handa Men's Premiership, which wrapped up on Sunday afternoon at North Harbour Stadium. Team Wellington getting the win over Auckland City FC. Were you surprised at all by this performance, given what you'd seen from Team Wellington against the same opposition throughout the regular season?
Wasn't surprised at all, really. I know it's easy to say that in hindsight, but I said to a few people leading into this game, the one team that could beat Auckland City, I believe, on their day in this league, even though Hamilton Wanderers managed it earlier in the season, was Team Wellington. In a grand final, I thought they were a team that could really test Auckland City, who, as we know, have been the benchmark for domestic football in this country for the life of the ISPS Handa Premiership and its predecessors. So I wasn't surprised. I'd watched a lot of Team Wellington, particularly in recent weeks, where after their losses back-to-back to Waitakere and then to Auckland City, they sat down and Scott Hales, their coach, said, we have got 5 games to go. We have got 5 grand finals to play. And they won all 5 of those games impressively so. Something happened, something clicked, and all of a sudden they were the team that came into the final with a bit of momentum. So I wasn't surprised. They matched up well against Auckland City. I think Auckland City losing Logan Rogerson was a big factor. I think he would have made a difference, but he obviously had to fulfil his commitments in Finland. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised, and I was delighted, not just because I'm a Wellingtonian, of course, but for the players on that side who I know have worked so hard to try and make the final season of Team Wellington's life, and its current guys anyway, a successful one.
Great analysis from Jason Pine, as always. It's what we've come to expect from the brilliant brain of Piney. Hey, just before you go, talk us through the photo collage over your left shoulder there. Who are we looking at?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's which over this side here. Yeah, yeah, my left. Yeah, that's actually just a collage of my two kids from their younger days. You find me in my lounge today. I thought this would be a good setting to chat to you. That's not a real cat. That's our real cat is somewhere else. That's just a silhouette of a cat. But yeah, my kids over here, Emma and Johnny, in their younger days, just posing for the camera.
All right, Emma, Johnny and Jason, thanks so much for your time today on the Kiwi Football Fix. Look forward to doing it again very soon, Piney.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Goran. Thanks, mate.
OK, on the Kiwi Football Fix now we go from champion broadcaster Jason Pine to champion footballer. His name is Hamish Watson, and we find him on the work site. Is that right, Hamish Watson? G'day and welcome to the Kiwi Football Fix.
Cheers. Yeah, just sitting in the truck here at work. So just on smoko, got myself a coffee, and yeah, just doing a bit of an interview for you. That's a bit of a come down, mate. On Sunday you were a champion of New Zealand, and now you're a chippy on a work site somewhere in Wellington. That's I think that's what most people in the league do. I mean, it's a semi-professional amateur kind of league, so I'd be a bit surprised if most of the boys don't all have jobs as well. Yeah, that's so true. Hamish, let's talk about that championship win in the ISPS Handa Men's Premiership final against Auckland City FC. How and why did Team Wellington win that day when you take into account what had happened previously, a draw and a loss to Auckland City in the regular season? I just really think we had a really, really good run of form those last 5 games, I think it was. We talked about it near the end of the year about we've got 5 games and we really need to win every single one of them to make sure we're in the top 4 and make that top 2. And yeah, we went on a 5-game unbeaten run, and I think our record was pretty good. We were scoring goals for fun. I think we only conceded 3 leading into the grand final and scored 16, I think. Someone said to me. So yeah, I think we're in just a hot run of form, and I mean, Auckland are a great side, but I mean, anyone on their day, if they play well enough, can win. And yeah, we played really well, and thankfully we won. Yeah. You talk about your team's hot form leading into the final. By comparison, Auckland had almost sort of becalmed themselves. They had a number of draws. They just got past Eastern Suburbs in the semi-final. Do you think that they had played their best football of the season? Oh, I don't think you can say that because they've got so much quality all over the park, but maybe they were just, I don't know, struggling with a little bit of form or something. I mean, we were there at the start of the year. We were just scraping through games, a lot of draws, and yeah, I think maybe sometimes that happens in these sorts of competitions. You just hit a good run of form at the right time, and it kind of takes you into the finals, and yeah, worked for us. What did it mean to you and your Team Wellington teammates to go into this match and it be the final grand final of the current New Zealand Premiership? Yeah, I mean, we talked about it all week, about how we all wanted to go out and be the last team to win it. So yeah, that was a big motivator for us, and obviously they would have been doing the same, I'm sure. But yeah, we're just so happy that it's Team Wellington that will be the last franchise to win the National League. Hamish, your goal-scoring form was absolutely sublime throughout the season. Is there anything that you can pinpoint or explain to us as to why you were so good this season? Oh no, I think I've probably always had it in me. I maybe was just a little bit more clinical this year than maybe in the last few seasons. I maybe would miss quite a few chances where I'd think like I definitely should score that or put it on target or something like that. So no, I think it's just a good team around you creating a lot of chances. I think we're going to score goals and just put them away.
Well, with your form throughout the season, has there been any kind of interest at all from any professional outfit? I mean, you're no stranger to the professional scene. You've been there with Wellington Phoenix on a number of occasions. Has anyone been in touch to say, we need Hamish Watson as part of our strike force?
No, I've had no interest or anything from any professional side. Just been happy with my form and just been getting on with it really. Yeah.
Is that something you still harbour ambitions for? I mean, you haven't put the cue in the rack, so to speak. You still want to play for a professional team?
Yeah, I mean, if the opportunity came, then for sure I'd be more than interested. But for now, I guess it's you just play at whatever level is the highest possible that you can. So just been doing that for the last couple of years, and then obviously you've got your work that you can continue with and just get along. So it's all good.
So what happens for you now then? No interest at the moment from professional teams. Where do you play your football now that the ISPS Handa Premiership has finished?
So I'm playing at Wellington Olympic in Wellington. Yeah, I signed for them last year when I came back from Melbourne and played maybe 4 or 5 games, and then I'll continue my winter there, and then hopefully into the new National League setup.
Are you excited about that new National League setup?
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting because it'll just be so different, so new for everyone. But I can't see any reason why it won't be a success. But it'll just be a bit of a change from what I guess I've been used to for the last 10 odd years, I'd say.
Hamish, earlier in the season you had what can only be described as the most glorious of mullets hanging out the back of your head. Can you talk us through how it all came about? I understand that it was something that came off the building site.
Yeah, so the foreman that I would work with, I was his apprentice. He's left our company now, but he had a good mullet when I came back from Australia, I think the first time. And he was just telling me how great it was and everything like that. And I kind of just said like, I'm going to grow one as well. And we kind of just went from there. And both of us would rock around site. The both of us had pretty like big mullets going on, and everyone would kind of like do a double take at us and things like that, which was pretty funny.
How long did it get at its absolute longest?
It was very, very long. I don't know. I never measured it or anything, but like I look at some photos of the games and things like that, and I kind of just laugh at how long it actually was. It was pretty impressive. In the end, you got rid of the mullet for a very good cause, didn't you? Can you tell us a little bit about the money that you raised for mental health awareness? Yeah, well, my partner, she just said, you pick who you want to raise it for, and obviously straight away I was just like, I want to raise it for the Mental Health Foundation of New Zealand, and I think we ended up raising about just over $1,800, which is pretty good. Didn't even wait for the 2 weeks of the Give a Little page to go. We reached the goal pretty quick, which I think was 1,000, and then we changed it to 1,500 because we got it so fast, and just went straight to the barbers and cut the hair off. Nice one, mate. Is there a special reason as to why you wanted to donate to mental health? Me personally, obviously had a few dark times with just obviously coming out of the Phoenix and things like that, going through a real tough time and things like that, and obviously with the lockdowns and stuff that's been going on for the last month, I think it's just would be affecting a lot of New Zealanders kind of thing. People's mental health, obviously the unknown, going into the lockdowns, being away from friends and family, not really knowing what's going on. And I mean, this pandemic's been pretty crap for the whole of New Zealand. So I think it's probably a very, very good one to get behind.
100%, mate. I mean, you may have lost a beautiful hairstyle, but you've helped out some New Zealanders in a massive way there, mate. So congratulations for that. And also congratulations for what was a brilliant season in the ISPS Handa Men's Premiership. 15 goals, a championship at the end of it. Hamish Watson, thanks so much for being so generous with your time today on the building site. We appreciate it a lot here on the Kiwi Football Fix, mate.
All good. No worries.